Good morning, English 10. Welcome back to another video. Now, I know it's been a little while since we last talked like this. That said, we're starting today with our next unit, which is, drumroll please, literary terms. Hopefully some bells are ringing when I say that. If you went to Mac for your freshman year, you studied some of these in class. On Thursday and Friday of last week, your assignment was a pre-test that I posted on Maxess. And most of you did really well on it, so I'm really optimistic about how well we're going to do on this unit. Today in next class, we're going to review some of the literary terms we're going to use in this unit. Today we're going to talk about three things: character, setting, and conflict. Characters. There are two types of characters we're going to focus on: the protagonist and the antagonist. The protagonist is the main or leading character that we follow throughout the story, the good guy. The antagonist is the person who opposes the protagonist and makes that person's life hard, the bad guy. Now, these characters and other characters are described in lots of different ways, including what they say in the form of quotes, and what they do in the form of actions. They are also described by the author. Descriptions from the author can either be direct, like saying, Aaliyah was always late, or indirect, like saying, practice starts at 6, but Aaliyah, as per usual, rolled up at 6:30. We can say, Miss Weaver loves mugs, or we can always show Miss Weaver drinking from mugs. Next up, setting. Setting includes a lot of different things, but some important ones are the where and the when, so the time and the place where something is happening. Is this story set in 15th century England? Is it set in 21st century Forestville, Maryland? Is it set in 1950s in New York City? Is it set in the middle of the wilderness in a post-apocalyptic world? Those settings would all have very different stories. So it's important for us to pick up the clues in the story that tell us when and where something is happening. The author will often give us those clues using imagery. Y'all remember our friend imagery from the rhetoric unit? If you need a reminder, imagery is rich details that apply to the senses. Describing what you might see in a setting, the colors, the furniture, the lighting. Is it cold? Is it warm? Is the place crowded or empty? Y'all were good with this last time, let's move on. Last term for today is conflict. Conflict is any type of problem or tension happening in the story. Most stories will have more than one conflict going on. There's 5 main types of conflict that we're going to talk about in this unit, and those are: man versus man is when two characters have a problem with each other. These two characters can be of any gender, and we still refer to them as man versus man. This can be the characters having a fight, a rivalry, a competition. They could be enemies, they could be parents having a disagreement. Doesn't matter. Two people have beef with each other. It's man versus man. Man versus self, on the other hand, is when someone is having some type of inner struggle with themselves. Man versus nature is when someone has to deal with natural disasters or animals, the weather. Man versus society is when an individual person is going up against a group, a community, a country, society, or societal norms and expectations. Last, but certainly not least, and maybe most confusing, man versus fate, destiny, God. This one is really popular in like sci-fi or fantasy movies. It's the idea of one person who has to go up against a foretold prophecy or fate. They find themselves working up against a powerful supernatural force or the way things are supposed to be. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you might think of the way that Harry is chosen as the chosen one who has to fulfill his destiny and beat Voldemort. Basically, all of Star Wars is built on this idea that people have to harness the Force for good or evil, and it usually doesn't take place in one specific scene, but over the course of the whole story in general. Those are the 5 main conflict types. Those were the 3 literary terms we're studying today, and this is the end of my video.